Hello, this is my latest find on eBay. It's a Protimeter DP989 hygrometer. A hygrometer is a device which can measure the moisture which is held or suspended in the air. And as you can see, this one is working and it's telling me that there's 7.7 grams of water per every kilogram of air. So if you think a kilogram of air is roughly 1 meter cubed in volume, so it gives you an idea of how much water there is suspended in here. Okay. It also tells you the dew point temperature, so at what temperature something needs to be before water will condense on it, and also the ambient temperature. So it's had a bit of a rough time. There's a crack there. The bezel glass was cracked on there, so I've removed that. But apart from that, everything's working really well. Interesting to note that the manufacturers removed all the identification off the chips, so apart from the ROM chip actually with the program on. So if any of these break, then you're pretty much stuck for getting a replacement, which is a shame. But there it is. So I'll just take the probe apart and show you how it works. So here's the probe. I've removed the little guard here and the filter cover from the probe, and you can actually just about see that shiny gold mirror there. So this is a type of hygrometer called a chilled mirror hygrometer, and that mirror is mounted on a Peltier device which can both heat and cool the mirror. And what it does, it cycles through heating and cooling the mirror, and when it's on its cooling run, it will detect when water vapor from the air condenses on that surface. So here you've got a little LED or some kind of light source and a detector, and when the moisture condenses on that surface, it sends a signal back to the system, and that then uses the algorithms to work out the values that are displayed on the front. You can see at the moment it's saying level OR because I've removed the filter cover here, which is letting stray light in, and it's confusing the whole thing. As usual, the problem with fixing old kit is trying to find a manual or some schematics, but I did find one company that was doing a calibration service on these many years ago, and they're still in business actually. So Thunder Scientific. So I found down here on the list they've got the Protimeter, which they've calibrated before. So I sent them an email, and within about 3 hours I got a reply with this attachment, and it was so it's a scanned manual from the 90s. So it was a bit of a long shot, but it paid off. So big thanks there to Jeff and Jerry of Thunder Scientific. So I've got a bit of repair work to do because it had a bit of a bash, and the glass bezel was cracked here. Also the casing's a little bit knocked, so I'll straighten that up and perhaps put some filler in there. But the main thing I want to do is put a different LCD screen. So this is just a green reflective screen, okay, but I've actually got a backlit white text on blue background screen, and from what I can find on the internet, from the data sheets, I'm pretty sure all these pins are going to be identical because most of these things were cloned from the original Hitachi. I think it's a HD 44780 specification. The only difference on here is the two pins labelled A and K, and they are just the power supply for the backlight. So I need to connect those and put a resistor in there as well somewhere, so I'm not sort of making it too bright. This one's a bit thicker because of the LED array for the backlights, but I've checked already, there's enough room in the casing for that. This came with an I2C sort of adapter board, so I can take that off, solder these cables on and see what happens. So I'm halfway through transferring these cables onto the backlit LCD, and but in the back of my mind I'm thinking, I hope I've got it right, that there's no real change between these over the years. So I guess I'm hoping that the standard, the HD 44780 standard, has been copied in its entirety, and not changed. And it was difficult because I couldn't find any reference. There's no part number on here. All I had to look at was sort of more modern things. So I'll keep going and keep my fingers crossed. Well, I've turned it on with a new screen on, and my initial thought was, it's no good. Something's wildly different about the wiring scheme. However, when I turned it off, you can just see there, you can see the text there. So basically the contrast is saturated. So I've got to find a way of trimming that with a resistor somewhere. So that's good news. At least the all the protocols are the same. So I'll carry on. So luckily I found a trim pot on the board there, little blue one, which did the trick. So that's giving me the right sort of contrast. Now I need to figure out how to connect these with a resistor somewhere to get the backlight to work. So things are going well. So quite simply then, I've just jumpered the anode and the cathode of the LED to the power supply really, and switch it on. Voila, it's fine. Now the only thing I've noticed, I think before these were lowercase and had some capitalization. Now they're all sort of uppercase, but I think I can live with that. Don't know why that is, but yeah. Right, so I'll do the case now and get that ready and put it back together. I thought it was probably worth a bit of a respray. A lot of the stains didn't come off with alcohol, so probably worth doing. And that's the front and the strap pieces as well. So after a coat of paint and the new screen, I think it's looking pretty good. So I'm quite pleased with that.